Okay, so this is the new vanity for the bathroom, and I'm really happy with this vanity that I picked out. I went around to the big box stores like Lowe's and Home Depot, and I just wasn't all that impressed with what they had for the prices that they were selling them for. So I decided to go ahead and kind of go a little bit off the beaten path, and I went to Cabinets to Go and picked this one up. I think I paid $8.50 for this vanity, and that includes the tax and everything. So every drawer and door on here is functional. And that was one of my main criteria for buying a vanity. I wanted to make sure that all the drawers and doors were functional because there's not a whole lot of storage space in that bathroom. And so the top is granite. That package right there with the duct tape around it, that's the backsplash for it. I just want to make sure I protect it until I actually get it installed. And so on the back here, this is what I'm working on right now, is the drain and moving the plumbing in the bathroom for that drain opening for the sink. And so what I did kind of first of all is step back and take a look at the vanity and just assess some things that I might run into as issues in installing this in the bathroom and lining up all the plumbing and everything. So the first thing I noticed was right here, this lip here. That overhangs this leg, which is the main edge of the vanity. It overhangs that probably about, I think it was 10/16 of an inch. So I need to account for that measurement when I start measuring out where the plumbing needs to go in the bathroom. And so what I'll probably do is add about 1/8 of an inch onto that measurement of 10 or 11/16. So I'll have to also account obviously for drywall and flooring in there, and I'll talk about that a little bit later when I'm in the bathroom. So again, I'm transferring the measurements of this drain opening to the bathroom, just so I make sure everything lines up and that the plumbing connects correctly to the sink. And I'll probably have to make some cutouts. Actually, I will have to make some cutouts for the supply lines, and those will go in this panel over here. So what I'm showing you right now is the area that I'm going to be working in when I put in the new vanity. So as I mentioned before, I took some measurements on the vanity and considered the top of the vanity, the lip on the top, which is about 10/16. Considered the drywall in here, which is a 1/2 inch drywall. It's going to be on this wall here. I also considered the flooring, which is going to be about 3/4 of an inch in additional material in this bathroom. And so now I'm ready to kind of just plot out all exactly where that drain is going to have to move so that it connects up under the sink on the vanity. So the first thing I did was I made a couple marks. I made this mark here. That mark represents the lowest point on that opening, the cutout for the drain opening on the back of the vanity. And so that's the lowest point. This is the highest point here. So the cutout is between here and here. And so I did that on that stud there, then I transferred it over to that stud using a level. And so the next thing after that, I wanted to find the center point of that opening. And the center point, meaning the center width in this case, the center width was 21 5/8 inches away from this wall here. So I measured over and drew a vertical line right there. And what I did was just tacked up some cardboard so I could do that. Just drew a line right there. So that's all done. So now the next step was to figure out exactly how I want to run this new drain line so that I can connect up right over here in this area. And so what I did was, the first thing I said, okay, I need to consider all these different plumbing lines, electrical lines that are already in here. And so that this one here, this gray electrical line and that white one, I have to really consider those. Make sure I don't run into those when I'm moving the plumbing. And also on the other side of the stud, there's that same gray wires running downward. So I need to be careful that I don't cut into that. And I'll probably be shutting off the power when I do. Actually, I will be shutting off the power when I do start to move that plumbing. So and I'll just tap off. I'll just use an extension cord and draw power from another room or something. And so I can, you know, make my cutouts and everything. So what I'm going to do is kind of show you a mock-up of what I'm going to be doing in terms of making, moving the plumbing. So this right here, all that plumbing right there, that's just, you know, just like I said, it's not to scale. This is, you know, really, it's a lot bit bigger than it's actually going to be when I put it in. So I'm going to be teeing off the existing line using one of these tees. So I'll be teeing off about right there, and it's going to flow over that way. I'm going to have to make, you know, a cutout in the stud, probably using a hole saw, and cut out through this stud. I have to consider this collar right there when I choose my size of hole saw. So I'll be cutting into this stud here and then going over this direction, and then once I get to about the center point, that center point right there where on the drain opening on the back of the vanity, that's where the elbow comes in, and I'll start to go downward with my plumbing. Then probably about the same height, maybe a little bit higher, just so that I stay, you know, above that line down there, or this line here, which represents the lowest point on that opening that cut out on the back of the vanity. That's where this is going to go. I'm going to tee off this new line and attach a drain there. Then it's going to continue to flow down through here, and then another elbow comes into play. It's going to cut back over this way underneath here. So just imagine it cutting back over to about right there, and it'll be another T, what that represents there. And then I'll have a pipe, you know, in between the two T's that are on here. So the T that'll be here, and then the T that'll be down there, there'll be this pipe running between the two of them to connect those up. So that's pretty much it. And then also, I'm going to make sure that I put a slope in this pipe too. So for every foot of pipe, you're supposed to put in, you know, any pipe that's running horizontally, you need to have a 1/4 inch slope for every 1 foot. So that's what I'll be doing there. Doing that on the top and on that bottom pipe. So once I get all the pipe cut using my miter saw, and I'll be using the miter saw in the backyard as opposed to using it in the garage, because I remembered when I cut PVC using my miter saw before, the heat that cutting the miter saw generates, you know, cutting that PVC, it generated a lot of toxic gas, and I had to actually go outside and get some air because it was really starting to become very toxic in the garage. I had a window open, but it still wasn't enough. So this time I'm definitely going to be out in the backyard instead of in my garage cutting this pipe. And so that's just a word of warning. And then to connect all this pipe up, I'm not going to be using PVC primer or cement. I'm going to be using this ABS cement, which is meant specifically for ABS pipe, which is what this is here. So you're not supposed to use PVC primer or PVC cement for this ABS pipe. And another thing too I read is I need to make some marks everywhere there's a connection, just so to make sure that the pipe is oriented correctly. So in other words, I'm going to probably I have a green Sharpie kind of marker. I'm going to draw a line from here all the way across to this pipe, so that when I connect those pipes up after I put on the ABS cement, that those things line up correctly and the pipe's all going in the right direction. So in other words, I don't want to have this drain line, you know, if I get it all connected up and I'm not paying attention, I don't have the drain line pointing that direction. I want to have it pointing coming straight off. So I want to make sure I definitely orient things correctly, and that includes making marks on all these pipes so that the orientation is correct. Okay, so thanks a lot for watching.